Zapraszamy na kolejny odcinek Made for Restaurant Stories, tym razem z wyjątkowym gościem, z Charlesem Spencem, profesorem Oxfordu, który opisał wyjątkową dziedzinę gastrofizyki. Będzie to również wyjątkowa rozmowa, bo poprowadzi ją dla Państwa po raz pierwszy Beata Jaworska, nasza specjalistka od wyszukiwania ciekawostek na rynku dla restauratorów. Do tej pory robiła to w ramach Made Tank na scenie naszej konferencji, a dzisiaj w ramach rozmowy z Charlesem. Zapraszam, Beata.
Zapraszamy do obejrzenia tego podcastu z Charlesem Spencem.
How can we tweak our menu names so that we can have a 5% increase in price or sales? No one thinks that the music's affected their choice, but the till figures tell you that it has. And then other research showing that if you put classical music on, people spend more money in a wine shop, in a cafeteria, in a restaurant, than if you put top 40 or let your manager choose what to put on. 1 in 4 Brits now choose their holiday destination based on the food. And that was never used to be the case, but it is now increasingly important.
Where is this thin line between something that is amazing on social media, but not necessarily selling best, right? Hi everyone, today our guest is Charles Spence, the professor of Oxford University, the author of 2 books, one very famous already for quite a long time, Gastrophysics, and a pretty new one, Digital Dining. Welcome and thank you for being with us. You came actually for our conference. You had a lecture there. How was it? What you were telling about our guests?
Yes, so I was talking about the latest book, Digital Dining, all around technology and food, and how the landscape is and will be changing, be it from the introduction of robots in restaurants, something that many restaurateurs worry about, through the use of AI to help create and curate new menus, new concepts, new dish designs, through to the use of technologies, be it ubiquitous technologies like phones and tablets, in restaurants, in the home, but kind of connected to food experience, and how it can be used to tell stories and create emotions, maybe connect you to the farmer who grew the wheat that's in the bread that you're eating, and sort of an exciting place for this kind of I think not for AI to replace the creativity of the chef or the restaurateur, but just as a tool in their arsenal that allows them to do some things differently, more rapidly, and I'm very interested in that space about how this new tool or tools are being used, and what sort of barriers there are to adoption, and what opportunities there are for kind of creative practice.
And how they can speed up or brainstorm with AI, for example, right? And make some trials.
And just thinking about particular draw attention to sort of Dubai chocolate as being something that has exploded over the last 3 or 4 years. And in many European cities now you just find it everywhere in sort of the tourist spots, and chocolate in smoothies and hot chocolates with Dubai chocolate with ice cream. Every stall has this kind of green and brown distinctive colour pairing. And I think you cannot explain that in terms of the flavour. It's not...
It's actually pistachio,
horrible.
right?
It's horrible, it's horrible in fact, I think.
No, I love it.
You can't explain it really in terms of its taste. It's not more delicious than other chocolates, but I think it distinctively looks different. And that's then something that can be very easily conveyed in social media and Instagram posts. And the fact that that has exploded from nowhere in 2 or 3 years means that these trends are emerging, I think, probably ever more rapidly in the food space. Maybe it's bubble tea or ramen noodles are suddenly everywhere. And in the past, I think for many restaurateurs, as well as for food brands, they'd find out about the latest trends too late. So then they'd try and innovate, either in their product portfolio or put a dish on the menu with Dubai chocolate or something. But by that time, the trend's kind of already peaked and going. Whereas now, a growing number of the large food and beverage companies, the ingredient providers, but also individual chefs are now using this sort of AI to pick up these trends more rapidly, just as they're emerging, by monitoring sort of social media content and keywords, and then allowing them to innovate and put something on their menu into market far more rapidly than would previously have been the case. And I think this becomes more and more important as we sort of see this wave after wave of new trending foods coming much faster than ever before, and hence you need to be able to sort of respond and innovate more rapidly, and for that you need the earliest insight possible, and I think that's going to be increasingly important.
And what is, in your opinion, the key reason why something is becoming viral on internet and what's not? Like, what are the circumstances that are making it?
I think it has to be visually distinctive in some way. I think if you had something that was truly delicious but didn't look good, there's no way of conveying that online. You can sort of say, well, it's delicious, it's yummy, but that's about it. It doesn't take you very far. So I think all the viral food trends are probably visually distinctive in some way. And so for me, it's the Dubai chocolates are green and brown. There's nothing else that has those combinations of colours in the marketplace. So if you see that in social media, it is it looks visually distinctive, and hence it will succeed. Aperol Spritz, Provençal rosé wine, again, to drinks that have re-emerged or emerged in the market over recent years. Many commentators would say that's just because of what they look like in people's social media posts. It looks like you're having a better time with a glass of rosé than with a white or red. And you can see that it's different. You can see with the Aperol Spritz, nothing else has that particular colour. And you can do it either through different unique colours, like the Aperol Spritz, or for many restaurateurs, it would explain the rise of unusual plating of dishes, that more and more chefs are going beyond the kind of American white plate of Nouvelle Cuisine, and instead plating on bespoke plateware with strange shapes or textures, or plating on bricks or tiles or slates or hats or shoes, you name it, somebody's done it. And that won't necessarily make the food taste better, but it will be more Instagrammable, and hence you sort of capture the public imagination.
But do you think it's some part of our brain, or like what our brain likes, that it's extraordinary things are likable? Like, why? So
I think what our brain likes, what our brain really likes, is fat.
Yeah, you mentioned
energy density.
That, right?
And you can see, within hundredths of a second, you opening your eyes in some scene, your brain's decided already, incredibly fast, that's edible, that's not, and that's where all the energy is, all the fat in the food, and then we'll pay attention to that thing. And if that food is moving, it's even more irresistible, so like yolk porn or cheese melting out of a burger, that's kind of energy in motion. That is one of the most attractive things. So that wins out in terms of the consumer's brain, normally. And to some degree that will work, I guess, also then in advertising, so also in social media content. It's sort of hard to make a salad look fabulous, because it can be good for you. It's
colorful usually.
Can be. If you had a few flowers, yes. There's got that, but there's not really much energy density, so it's harder for our brains to lock onto it in quite the same way. And when it comes to then sort of social media things, it's probably partly about the energy density of the food that is shown, but it's also about being distinctive, being different, being new in some way.
Catching eye.
Yeah, catching the... and I think you cannot convey something new if it has, imagine I create a product with the best taste in the world, but it just looks like regular chocolate. There's no way I can convey that visually.
Yeah, or as plain.
And so I'm sort of lost. There has to be distinctively, visually different by colour, by form, by plate, and to really catch on. And I think we're viral.
where is this thin line between something that is amazing on social media, but not necessarily selling best, right?
So, I mean, a lot of the cocktail makers I work with, there's some in the Middle East who say sort of bizarre now, people will come into their bar on their holidays, first time they're in Dubai or wherever, and just say, I want this drink, and show a picture. And they have no idea what it costs, no idea what's in it. They've just seen the image, and they want that. And so the kind of visual image is all powerful. And then whether it almost doesn't matter what it actually tastes like, maybe sometimes. So, I mean, one disconnect is probably in the world of blue foods. That on Instagram, there's an explosion of blue foods, blue drinks, blue fish, blue gins, blue vodkas now. And that's come from nowhere. And that does stand out on the internet. But it's very hard to find any chefs who use blue in their dishes. So it appears in online food content, but it's not one I've seen chefs really using, or certainly not successfully. And I suppose that's because for a chef there has to be something beyond the eye appeal. It has to have some flavour.
We know that the color is something that makes us excited, right? And we have some, let's say, hypothesis about the taste when we see color. And then the naming getting into as something very important. You mentioned this also during our lecture for our Made for Restaurant Edu. And how is it? Like, what is the best naming? What is your opinion? What is your recommendation about that? What should be the path of getting this in ideal way?
If you're going to add some words beyond just the ingredients to your dish name, then telling people about the process, that it's molecular or it's sous vide, won't be very good. But using sort of sensory descriptive labels like crispy and crunchy, sizzled, zingy, twisted, those sort of sensory descriptors do seem to really work in terms of demonstrable increase in sales of various foods, from vegetables to my favourite case in my brother's restaurant and bakery, when he launched a crispy duck salad for the Chinese New Year last year, just for that one day. But then it became so popular that he's never taken it off the menu, and it's always the best-selling item. And he's sort of got no idea as a chef what's going on. He just knows it works. And for me, I'm thinking, well, it's all about the name. And maybe calling it a salad makes it sound healthy, but it's got ducks, so it's kind of like a tasty, healthy thing. Or maybe it's a crispy duck salad. It's exactly that sensory descriptive label that has a real power over people. And just calling it Chinese duck salad wouldn't be the fried duck salad wouldn't do it, but crispy, that's an attribute that seems to really resonate with people. And by incorporating those more sensory, a few of those more sensory descriptive labels, you can increase choice for those items. And even, we didn't get to do it in the end, but for example, with one of the large pub chains in the UK, they were looking for partners to help across their 600 sort of pub restaurants, saying how can we tweak our menu names so that we can have a 5% increase in price or sales. And we didn't get to do it, but I really believe it is possible to this sort of systematic engineering of naming. And so often I find, especially with home chefs, but also sometimes with restaurant chefs, they can really focus on the ingredients and the seasonality and getting the right flavour combination, and then thinking what they're going to call this dish. They've got no idea.
You were also saying that actually we can guide our guests into particular part of our menu. For example, if we are listening to French music, we are more open to drink French wine, for example, that moment.
Yeah. No one thinks that the music's affected their choice, but the till figures tell you that it has. And then other research showing that if you put classical music on, people spend more money in a wine shop, in a cafeteria, in a restaurant, than if you put top 40 or let your manager choose what to put on. Put those two things together, and that would say, you know, for the Polish restaurateur who was trying to increase the spend of each and every one of their customers, then some sort of classical Polish composer ought to be the thing. I think that's Chopin, isn't it?
Yeah.
And some others.
Yeah.
But that would, you know, no one's done that exact experiment, but that would be kind of the prediction. And even if you say no, for my kind of restaurant, where I was speaking to a pizza restaurant owner from Warsaw a couple of nights ago, and he does 1,000 pizzas a day, and he's got rap music in his, it's like a naughty boy pizzeria with rap music and tattoos, and so classical Polish music clearly wouldn't be appropriate there. But nevertheless, there'll be something that's right. And I could mention, it's a Scalpel, one of my favourite kind of contemporary Polish pop groups, might be the right sort of thing.
I would like to ask for your opinion what we should do that Polish cuisine would get trending on global scale or European scale, because you know we have sour rice soup, we have the best dumplings, we have apples and apple pie and many stuff. What are your recommendations for us if we have such ambition to be trending with our cuisine?
I guess another thing is to think, you know, what are those dishes, the pierogi, the soups, the breads, what are those things look visually distinctive? Look unlike anything you can get in a German bakery, say. Is there something that has a unique visual appearance that then will be easier to promote on social media? Then I think for Turkey, I was thinking about this, what's going on there. It's partly about tourism and gastro-tourism that you know, 1 in 4 Brits now choose their holiday destination based on the food. And that was never used to be the case, but it is now increasingly important. So clearly the people are coming in, but then what is it? What is that thing that will be visually distinctive and uniquely Polish? You might have the best tasting bread, but does it have a name that identifies it as a Polish something? It's Dubai chocolate, and that name linked to the thing becomes a very powerful as well. It's hard to say what is Polish cuisine because there have been so many people coming in, so many foreign influences. But at the same time, I think that could be reframed. Then if we think about the Turkey example, then for me that's sort of sitting at the interface of East and West.
As Poland.
Yeah, and that for Turkey then becomes a unique selling point, that it is this sort of fusion of East and West, and they have it in their dishes and their cuisine, and you can experience it yourself.
So we have culture, different culture everywhere, and the heritage, culinary heritage, but I think we are not yet proud enough of that. But I think your if I got your recommendation well, is first to think about how distinctive it looked like, but also link it with original place and maybe make atmosphere about that.
Maybe the last thing might be something about regionality as well.
Yeah.
And maybe that's something that could be developed. And there are a growing number of I guess, tourists who would go, not only who would choose their destination in part based on the food, but would actually choose the destination solely because, you know, of the food.
Exactly. I think we have really a high potential here to show our culture and bring guests to our beautiful country and the nature and the place where there is a lot of heart putting into cooking. We are such a diamond, let's say, to discover. Thank you for this conversation. I think you brought a lot of very interesting knowledge to our conference, to our educational platform, and thank you for this conversation. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed staying in Poland. It was not last time. For sure, we would be very happy to host you again.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.